But what the marketing pulpit is about is strategy. Use social media and stop letting it use you. That's one thing about a business. It's an equalizer. It's a game changer. We have to think like the successful companies. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. We're not saving souls. We're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. If I happen to save a soul along the way, don't hold that against me. We'll just call that icing on the cake, because the mission is to build strong businesses in our community so we can put our people to work. And we do that with business development, job creation, and service. If you find yourself at a business crossroads ever, and you're not sure which way to turn, do what the smart folks are doing. They're turning on the Marketing Pulpit Show. They're not sitting around here complaining and cursing the darkness when they could be lighting the candle. Be like the smart folks. I'm not saying I have all the answers. I just have most of them, particularly when it comes to business. I've been at this for a long time. Boy, I'm trying to retire. But before I get out of here, I've got to get some of this knowledge out of my head. I'd rather get it into your head. You don't have to make the same mistakes I made, but you can benefit from the knowledge and experience. I'm a business developer by trade, been doing that for 25 years. I've worked at the SBA, the Small Business Administration, in the 8A program, help companies get into the government space and then technological and web social space. Written a couple of books, Played in Full and Smarter Than the Boss. And I teach this stuff over at the college. Been doing it for 25 years almost. I teach marketing strategies. I teach social media. I also teach networking. That's not to brag. I'm just letting you know. I have a couple of receipts. Your time is well spent tuning into this show. And you should be telling other people about it, because I'm going to be brutally honest with you. Some folks going to sugarcoat it and try to sell you something, trying to sell you that little latest gadget. That's not me. I don't want your money. You hear me? I want you to go out here and succeed. This is my way of giving back. This is my mission, my purpose, my raison d'etre, my reason for being. Right. Anyway. Thanks for tuning in. They've got a very exciting show today. Every show is exciting, but in case you missed any of the past shows, go to marketingpulpit.com and you can just flip through there and search on the different topics. If you have a particular topic you want to be brought up to date on, just go ahead and flip through the shows. They have the description right there in the title. Go to YouTube. Got a very vibrant YouTube channel. You can get 1-minute sound bites. Get motivational clips. You can get marketing sermons. We even have a podcast. And the podcast you can also get on the Marketing Pulpit homepage. You'll see we're on Spotify. We're on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Facebook Podcasts. Facebook about to phase out their podcast, but we still have several ways to get this information to you. So there is no excuse to go out here and be stumbling around in the darkness when we're lighting the candle for you. All right. So anyway, let's see what else is going on. So later in the show, we're going to talk about doing our marketing sermon. We're going to talk about what happens to your business when you're no longer here. And when I say no longer here, I don't mean like sitting at this chair. I mean when you're not in this planet, when you're not on this earth anymore. You're up in the heavens or the stars or wherever you decide to go when you leave here. What happens to your business? And why wait until you get to that point? You need what we call a business exit strategy. And we're going to talk about that. 3 things every business exit strategy should have. We're going to break it down for you later in the show. Also, we're going to talk about what's happening in the news. Man, it never ends. It never lets up. God, every time one thing comes, another goes. Man, Black Jesus, help us. It's rough out here. That's why you got to get your business right. Some things you can't control. You can't stop folks from going out and shooting up the place. At least our Congress not going to do anything about it. Can't control the weather, can't control COVID, but you can get yourself a good business out here. So you can have something that can generate revenue. Get that recurring income coming in, something you can control. Some young snot comes up here and tells you you no longer need it, or because the company decided to bring in nephew or son. You've been in that company for 20 years, but all of a sudden, that kid they had in college graduated. He's got the same degree you had. And they find a reason. All of a sudden, they're digging through their records, trying to find out what infraction or what mark is on your record. And they show you the door. That doesn't happen when you own the joint, okay? I can tell you that. I tell you what, folks, the best thing about owning a business to me, not the money, that's good too. Man, that freedom. I am free. Nobody can fire me. I can sit up here and talk all the trash I want to. I mean, I'm telling you, and I do. You wonder, I know some folks ever, did this guy have a job? If somebody gonna fire him for what he just said? No. Of course, I might lose a client. They might not have been my type of client anyway. So I'm not worrying about that. Man, it's something about freedom. Some of you folks on here know what I'm talking about. Daryl Spears knows what I'm talking about. Good morning, Daryl. Daryl is free. Man, Daryl, we both have that corporate background. We've been out in the trenches. We've had to deal with that politics and all that nonsense. But one day, Daryl, just like me, he said, man, it's better to be free. Now, can everybody do this? Unfortunately, not. Some people but you can do something. I've given a show on how to generate recurring revenue, and not all of it includes having a hands-on business. Talk about franchising, vending, and all types of reseller programs. So everybody can do something. Good morning. Here's somebody else who understands. Marilyn. Marilyn is free. Man, she reminds me of me. She got about 20 things going on. Bless her heart. Marilyn, good morning. With your shop, your clothing shop, your comedy line, the other things that's what you're doing. Thank you for tuning in this morning, as you have done in so many instances. And so good morning to everyone. And if you want to join the conversation, you can put your comments in the feed and we will acknowledge you. I know you're out there listening because I can see the numbers, but if you want to be acknowledged or participate, something else we're doing too. We started this last week, and it's just based on demand. You now can come on to the show, and we'll put you on the camera right here with me and discuss some of the items that we're talking about on the show. We do a news segment around 11 o'clock, really about 10:45, a few minutes. And any of those topics that we talk about or chime in on, you can come on and talk about it. Give me your opinion, yay, nay, up, down, sideways, or whatever you decide. And then at the end of that 1 minute opinion, I want you to tell me a little bit about your business. You can do a 1 minute elevator pitch. Let people know what you're doing. If you have a book you want to promote, if you have a clothing shop you want to promote, if you have a website, you have an event coming up, this is your show. I know you all like to hear me talk, but I want to hear you talk. I want to hear you too. I want to hear what you think about it. This is your show. Your opinion matters. To do that, just go to marketingpulpit.com. Matter of fact, I'll put the link on the feed. I think it's on the feed. If you look at the show, you can see the show, and you can also, let's see what else. Yeah, go to marketingpulpit.com, and the link is there. And you can chime in and talk about any of the topics we talk about. Your price for admission, you've got to give me your opinion on something, and I'm going to give you a lot to opine upon. By the way, that's where opinion comes from, opining. You know, when I was in college, I was such a nerd. While most people out running around, getting drunk and jumping over fences at the high school game, my roommate and I, he was a nerd too. We studied the encyclopedia and the dictionary. I'm not even proud of that. I mean, so sometimes these words might slip out, and forgive me for being verbose. But, man, I'm telling you, you pick up these habits early. Sometimes it's hard to shake them. Let's see what else is going on here. I see somebody in the waiting room there, so I'm assuming if you're in the waiting room and you're waiting for your comment, wave your hand. Wave your hand if you want to come on camera, and I will get to you. I see you over there. Give me a hand and do like this, and I will bring you on at the appropriate time. All right, let's go. Let's do this. Let's talk about some items. But before I do that, ladies and gentlemen, I was thinking the other day. Somebody brought this old quote up, this old saying, this expression, throwing good money after bad. You ever heard that expression? Have you ever been on one of these projects? It's like you've been working on it. You've been putting in all the effort and things just aren't going your way. And you decide, wow, should I just give this up? But you're saying, shouldn't I continue just a little bit longer? After all, I have put in all of this effort. Why give up now? Well, that kind of thinking is the impetus behind this expression, throwing good money after bad. When things go south, sometimes you just have to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. Know when to walk away and know when to run. I know it gets hard sometimes. You put in all this effort. Why give it up? But I'm gonna tell you why. Because sometimes there's a term called sunk cost, which means that no matter how much you invested in time or effort, sometimes you just have to give up and write it off and move on. But I'm gonna tell you another story too. Sometimes not only can you waste your time and effort, you can also waste your goodwill by not knowing when to fold or when to hold. Not knowing when to give it up. You're throwing good money. You're throwing good effort. You're throwing goodwill after bad. So Gatewood, I've laid out this case. What should you do about it? How can you avoid doing that? I'm sure that'll be the next thing. Well, one thing I want you to do is separate your wild fantasies from your realistic expectations. Some of we got these, I don't want to say crazy ideas, but it's okay. I like the risk taker. I like the person that goes out on a limb. But you got to know, sometimes when it's not working, you got to give it up. Don't undertake these projects that are not aligned with your mission. I've been telling you on this show for years, have a mission and a purpose. So when the money's not there, when things aren't going well, you can go back to that purpose. Also, when you undertake these projects, keep multi-purpose and repurposing value in mind. That means if you can't use it for A, maybe you can use it for B, or at least part of it. That way you're not getting into these projects that when the bottom falls out, you've wasted all this time and effort. You can repurpose it. You have a multiple objectives in mind. And also beware of these people sometimes they have these hidden agendas that you're hanging around. Sometimes those agendas are subversive and they run counter to what you're trying to do. Sometimes, folks, you just have to accept your loss and move on. You can't just say, well, I put money in it, I put effort in it, I've got to see this through. And if we have unlimited resources, perhaps. But if you're like me, I've got other fish to fry. That's another quote, an expression. We'll talk about that one another day. All right, folks, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We come back, we're going to talk about some items that are in the news. We have another shooting. Now, last week, I said right up here, and I didn't want to talk about Buffalo because I want to talk about business. But we don't live in a vacuum. The reason I talked about Buffalo, because it took place in a place of work. And we have a section on our show called War in the Workplace. Turn around this week, another shooting in a place of work at a school down in Texas. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the passing of Kevin Samuels. He had his funeral recently, and many people have chimed in on him. We got a lot to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. So don't go anywhere. Hang on to your hat. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. Thank you for tuning in. I see we got a lot of folks hanging on. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a moment. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. If we know that women are carrying the burden They should be paid more. They should be given more flexible work hours. I may stop at some period, but as long as folks bagging the food, got to talk about it. Hey. Caught me up here sitting. Now, this is coffee. Sometimes I don't know, man. I feel like pouring some of the Crown Royal in this joint, especially after doing this news. Sometimes I think I need it just to get through it. Welcome to the show. To all the new listeners, I have one question for you. Where the heck you been? Didn't somebody tell you about this show? That this brutal guy named Robert Gatewood over here telling folks that your business not going to fly? I'll tell you too. Don't come on here with that craziness. I would tell you in a minute. Take that out of here. We got to deal with serious folks. All right, let's see here. Go to marketingpulpit.com. You can find out about the show. You can find out about me. If you don't know who I am, just Google. I'll tell you, boy, you find some weird stuff on Google. Thankfully, all the stuff on there about me is good, but I see myself on these websites overseas, and I was in a classroom on somebody's classroom curriculum. They didn't even tell me about it. I mean, they were actually sending the students to my YouTube channel as part of their class. And I'm like, hey, wait, can you let a brother know? That's okay. But look, as long as people getting this information, I don't care how they get it. Okay, I done told you that. I don't want your money. I'm not doing this for money. All right? I know. Like, what's wrong with you, man? Well, let's put it this way. I get my money from other means. I have a successful advertising and marketing agency called Gatewood Marketing. We also have a web business called Gatewood Web. So that's how I pay my bills. I do this to help you. Stop running out of these jacked up businesses and wonder why folks it's not the business necessarily. Sometimes it's just the owner. They don't want to spend the money on advertising. They got these wild ideas about, I don't know where they get this stuff from. They go out here on YouTube and think they become an expert overnight. Next thing you know, I'm reading. A friend of mine has this thing called a business card mog. My buddy William. He does an occasional check-in. But every year he goes through the business card file and see who's still there. He takes all the ones who didn't make it, put them over in the mog. Don't let that be you when we have the information here. Why curse the darkness when you can light a candle? That's what we're doing here. We're lighting candles, drinking coffee, and branding. See that brand there? Yeah, I love branding. That's MPI. That stands for Marketing Pulpit International. I got a pen with the same thing on it. You know what I do when somebody asks me to sign a contract or something? I learned this from watching somebody on TV. So all this stuff is not original, okay? I learned from the learned. I signed the contract. I could keep the pen. Got my brand all over it. So the next time they get ready to sign something, they got the Marketing Pulpit and Robert Gatewood in their hand. All right, let's talk about some things in the news. Talk about Kevin Samuels first. Kevin Samuels was a YouTuber, and he was a very controversial fellow. And the reason I'm telling this story, because it kind of ties into our topic, our sermon today, have an exit strategy for your business and plan. Now, Mr. Samuel's funeral was, I think it was this week or the end of last week. But what made it a little more dramatic than it should have been is because somebody put up a YouTube page and said that he was broke. Said he had $1,000 in the bank. And And then Reverend, what's his name? Jamal Bryant, the big mega church, goes to his congregation and mocks the man, even though it was an urban legend. The man was not broke. Matter of fact, I understand he was a millionaire. But there's a couple of lessons in here. First of all, if he was broke, I mean, that would have been a disaster and a shame. But did he plan an exit strategy? Did he have a plan for his demise? And many people don't. Okay. So if even though that was a myth, it was a rumor, it did raise the awareness that we have to plan for that day of eventuality. So anyway, rest in peace, Kevin Samuels. I know he had his detractors. Some people hated him, some loved him. I thought what he said was controversial. I thought there was some truth, but I think his delivery was a little sharp, was a little cutting. And so, but I mean, if that's what you do, you either listen or don't. It's that simple. You listen or don't. Just like this show. Some people think I'm kind of cutting. I'm kind of brutal. But I don't want you to go out here wasting your money on a business idea that's not going to work. Or to go out here thinking you can succeed in business without advertising or marketing. You're not. I don't care how many friends and frats and sorors you have, or how big your church is, and how big of a family you have. You run out of those folks the first week. Yeah. They're going to come to you. I know they will. They love you. But they're not coming back every day. You've got to get some strangers in the door. And until you realize that, you're going to fail. Period. I'm tired of going to these business funerals. That's what I call them. Week after week, somebody else's business unfailed. They go out here, they have these great dreams. Next thing you know, you call their business. You go in there because you're trying to support them. The door locked, padlock on the door. What happened to Fred? Oh, man, he went back to work. He went back to that government job. I'm like, shh. Now I got to go find another distributor. Got to find another supplier. Done put my faith in this person, and he didn't go out here, burn his goodwill. So this is personal. Dang it. All right, let's see who else over here commenting. Who's that? What's up, Platinum? Yes, ma'am. Sister Novita Bell. Bless you, sister, down in North Carolina. And she was a neighbor. We used to be our neighbors. Reverend Bell, Miss Bell, man, the sweetest people. Oh my God, I love you guys. Brother Asa and Sister Florida. Matter of fact, Florida and Asa's an attorney. Florida, she's doing so many things. They're both clients of mine. And little sister Novita, bless you, sister. I understand you have a podcast, a radio show, or something. If you want to share that information, by all means, be glad to put it out here on the airways. Good morning, Brother Brown, the greatest plumber in town. Another good brother. Good, solid, spiritual, family man. Love all you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Brother Brown, Robert Gatewood is the best. Oh, stop, man. You thought don't make me quiet. Get my tissue, Tito. God almighty. Black Jesus, save me. All right, let me get some more coffee in me. Let's talk about the news. You got me tearing up over here. All right, don't let me go off script here, man, so I can go ahead and go. All right, I'm back. See my eyes red now? Y'all got me all emotional. Anyway, let's talk about the news. We talked about Kevin Samuel. Let's talk about what's happening down in Texas. Now, President Biden is going down to Texas and wake up this attack. Oh, boy. What's wrong with these people? Lord have mercy. 19 babies, 19 children, 2 adults killed because we live in a country that gives more value and priority to the right to carry machine guns than the lives of young children. I mean, that's no other way to put. I'm not even going to try to dress it up. You talking about misplaced priorities. Oh, yeah, I'm a big bad guy. I got to carry my AK 27, whatever you call it, 15. I got to get my machine gun so I can go shoot some deer. I don't care if I make it easy for some 18-year-old person to go in there and buy 2 machine guns in 1 week and 375 rounds of ammunition. I don't care about that. As long as I can carry my machine gun and drive my pickup truck my Confederate flag in the back. Yeehaw! It ain't funny, ladies and gentlemen. It really pisses me off. But anyway, this guy goes in, shoots up the school, shoots his grandma in the face before he goes on this shooting spree. And now the controversy is that the people that did the responders didn't go in there and shoot the guy fast enough. So that's the talk right now. They say they took about an hour to go in there and take the guy out. I mean, I get that. I'm not. I know that I think there's a little bit of Monday morning quarterbacking in that. Some guy in a building with body armor on, shooting a machine gun, and if I got a little 9mm, I got to go take this guy out. I know that's what I signed up for. I think you got to give them a little bit of leeway. I think they should, when you sign up for these type of responsibilities, you have to respond. You got to go into the line of fire. You got to do what you have to do. Boy, but until you in that situation, somebody firing a machine gun out of a window, 1 hour is too long, okay, for whatever reason. That means either they didn't plan properly, they didn't train, they didn't have the right equipment, but that's entirely too long for a madman to be in a room with children slaughtering. But for the people on the front line, maybe the responsibility doesn't stop with them. Maybe it's a little further up the chain. I can't say. I don't know. I wasn't there. But I think it's easy to say what somebody should have done when you're not the one being shot at. I mean, I'm just saying. Oh, let's see. Ashley would like to discuss the importance of mentoring and relationship in the most recent challenges with young people in the community. All right, Ashley, let's get you in here. You gotta, now your price of admission, you gotta talk on one of my topics. You better pick your poison, because I'm not gonna let you just come in and talk. You got a minute. You better get your elevator pitch. Go look in the mirror, talk to yourself. But I'm gonna bring you on. You might as well pick your topic. You got 1 minute to talk about one of these topics, and you got 1 minute to talk about mentoring these kids. So I'm gonna give you a little time to marinate on that. I see somebody else over there waiting. You too. I told you I'm gonna give y'all a chance to talk now, but you got your price of admission. You got to talk about one of these topics. So let me get on through here so I can give y'all something else to talk about. Give you some options. Let's put it that way. What else is going on in the news? Let's see here. Talked about Kevin. We talked about, layoffs. The tech companies are laying off a lot of workers. But you know what? The problem I have with this story is that it's like every time the goalposts keep changing, keeps moving for what's been the success, the guaranteed success. I remember when the Y2K was coming, and everybody told everybody to go out here and learn how to program for Y2K. Everybody was quitting their jobs and taking these night courses, but folks wasn't hiring nobody who had like two weeks of training. They wanted folks with experience. So my point for that is, you have to have a strategy in life. You just can't be reading the tea leaves and jumping from one thing to another. Get yourself a purpose. Be grounded and stop jumping from one thing to another because it's hot. So that's going to change tomorrow. All right, let's see here. I told you I'm going to be brutally honest. So be careful when you come on my show. You might leave with your feelings hurt. Not you, Ashley. You cool. Pepsi drops the halftime show. Now, am I the only one that feels like there's a little more to this story? Now, listen, in case you weren't watching the game last year, Pepsi, the halftime show had Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and Dr. Pepper and Underdog and whoever else belonged there. Anyway, it was a motley crew. And just coincidentally, Pepsi decided this year, it ain't happening. I'm out of here. I'm just saying, maybe it's just coincidental. Could be more to it. But Pepsi said, I'm done. You're not going to get me back on here with Snoop Dogg and Underdog and Dr. Pepper and Dr. Dre and Dr. J and the whole army. So, I don't want to think that. Do y'all think there's a little a little bit of I don't want to be associated with that crowd in there. Oh, Platinum just corrected me. Mary J, not Dr. J. Dr. Dre. Okay, look, it's too many J's and Dre's and things in there. Okay, but thank you for the correction. Mary J, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, not Underdog. Man, these folks have some interesting names. I gotta give me one of those names. Maybe that'll put me on the map. I might be Doctor somebody. Dr. G. Snoop, Snoop, Snoop Pulpit. Marketing dog. Get it. Marketing pulpit. I'm sticking with it. Where's my cup? This is me right here. Marketing pulpit. MPI. Marketing Pulpit International. Is it too early to pour Crown Royal in here? What are those saying? It's 5 o'clock somewhere. No, I do not. I do not be walking around here drinking in the middle of the day. But it is 5 o'clock somewhere in China. So you can't. That's what folks say. The old saying, don't drink before 5 o'clock. It's always 5 o'clock somewhere. That's what they say. All right, what else is happening in the news? Walmart is pulling its Juneteenth ice cream. Okay. But let me tell you something, folks. First of all, I did a segment on this Juneteenth thing last year when they first made it a holiday. I'm driving down the road with my with my drinking my Pepsi, and I hear on the intercom on the radio that Juneteenth is now a holiday. I'm like, wait a minute, when that happened? Who voted on that? Did anybody run it past anybody? I just looked up and there it was. I mean, remember Martin Luther King becoming a holiday? Man, we had to march and fight and get dogs biting us and fire hoses and Stevie Wonder had to write a song. Juneteenth just popped up out of nowhere. But they didn't give any money to it. There no reparations or anything. It was like a card, like getting a Christmas card with no cash in it. So now Walmart decides it's going to recognize Juneteenth. So they came out with an ice cream. It's like vanilla, cheesecake, velvet, or something. And so some YouTuber or some social media person outed Walmart, and Walmart did the moonwalk. They did a Michael Jackson and pulled it off and apologized. That's what happens when you get these holidays that we didn't really discuss. Look, I like Juneteenth. It's a noble holiday, but it just came out of nowhere. We haven't had time to come up with a food yet. You know, with Thanksgiving, you got a turkey, right? New Year, you got black-eyed peas and collards. And Christmas, I guess you got a turkey for that, too. I don't know how that turkey gets so popular. It got 2 holidays. But we haven't come up with food yet for Juneteenth. But I'm not sure the ice cream is it. Don't be throwing that watermelon and chicken out there either, because we're going to get mad over that. So let us think about this holiday before we start assigning foods and whether it's going to be celebrated, how we're going to celebrate. Do we barbecue? You know, when you do your barbecue, do you eat another turkey? I mean, turkey is pretty popular. Maybe we should let turkey have one more. I don't know. Look, let's work on this. Let's have a forum. Maybe I get the folks online to help me out here. How do we celebrate Juneteenth? I haven't figured out how to celebrate Martin Luther King yet. I'm tired of listening to that I Have a Dream speech. I done worn that thing out, man. I be trying to mix it up. I throw a little Malcolm in there. Who taught you how to hate yourself? But every time the white man do something, and the white people, black people don't like, they find another black person come along and offset what he just said. I done heard that so many times. So what are we doing on Martin Luther King Day? So before you dump some more holidays on us and some different foods, let's work on the ones we have. I don't know. I'm just saying. What else is going on? A teacher in Michigan was suspended after a classroom activity comparing President Obama to apes. I saw this. They sent out some homework or something, and they were saying primates. They had an orangutan, a gorilla, a bear, or something, and had Brother Obama right in the middle of it. Well, the teacher said she had gotten this offline. I'm not even going to talk about this. That just ticked me off. I'm tired of these folks. I really am. Marilyn said that it makes sense. Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you for agreeing. I don't know what you're agreeing to, but thank you. Let's see. What is idea you're seeing? Token gifts. All right, folks. Now, when you put your comments in there, sometimes I don't get to you right away, so you might want to tell me what you're referring to. I know I should be keeping up. I got to get me an assistant in here to put these things on the screen faster. All right, folks, let's keep moving here. What else is going on in the news? Got some folks over here waiting too. I know y'all. I told you now. If you come on this line, you better have something to talk about. You better be making your notes. You got to talk about one of these topics. I know. I see the sweating on your foreheads over there. I know it's rough. It's rough. All right, Leon. I see you waiting over there too. All right. I see Leon. I see Sharon. I see Ashley. Let me stop flapping my chops so I can get you all on. I'm trying to give you some more things to talk about. Okay. A martial arts instructor is accused of sexually abusing a 13-year-old boy. Their parents checked his messages. What's up with these teachers and things having sex with these kids? You know the moms and dads going to get their phone eventually. That's the www.idon'thaveanysense.com at all. You're a teacher. You're a karate instructor. And you sending a text message. You sexting with a 10-year-old or 12-year-old. And you surprised that the parents come knocking on your door. Oh, I never thought anybody would see that. How can somebody possibly see what I'm putting on my phone that I'm sending to a 13-year-old? Let's see, 81-year-old woman carjacked while handing out meals to homeless people. That sounds like a joke, right? That sounds like a caricature. You can't make this up. You're 81 years old. You're handing out. It's bad enough that you're 81. You're handing out food to homeless people, and somebody takes your car. It's almost funny. I know that's not funny, but that's too extreme. Seems like carjackers should have some kind of, what do you call, criminals code or code of honor. If you're 81 years old, check that box. We're going to skip to her for that. Okay, she's helping homeless people. Let's skip her for that. She had both of them going on. Lord help us. Black Jesus, save us, please. Let's see. Indiana pastor. I was going to say maybe we need to go to church, but this Indiana pastor admits to neglect. He admits to adultery, which is not uncommon in some of these churches. But he forgot to tell everybody that the person he had the adultery with was a 16-year-old girl. Boy. Hey, Leon. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Where's my crown? I can't take this. Folks, I'm not an alcoholic. I don't even drink that kind of stuff. I might have a little, maybe wine with dinner or something like that, but I'm not a drinker. Not yet, but if I keep reading these stories, that might change. I see that's about to change in a heartbeat. What else is going on here? Postal worker and his son are accused of stealing $5 million worth of money order forms. The postal worker was a manager. They ordered these money order forms, got his son involved. The dad's supposed to be leading by example. Well, I guess he did lead by example. Okay, never mind. Maybe you shouldn't lead by example if your example is a bad one. Anyway, these guys stole $5 million worth of money order forms. They got a little ring going. The son was distributing them. Dad was bringing them in. Oh, Lord have mercy. Help us. All right, let me finish up so I can get my commenters who are waiting. Woman goes to Chipotle. They were trying to cut back on the in-store orders, and they ran out of food. And so they told her, we can only serve people who are ordering online. Of course, she pulled out her gun. So you better give me my food. Way to go, young lady. All right, folks, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to get some comments from some of the viewers. We're going to talk about, to wrap up the show, we're going to talk about the exit plan strategy. Do you have an exit plan strategy? I'm going to give you an outline on the exit plan. If you have a business, you can't just go along thinking you're going to be here forever. Or you may be somebody like myself getting to the end of his, getting a little long in the tooth. I can't do this stuff forever. I may want to get out of this business at some point. So what's my plan? What's my strategy? We're going to talk about that in a moment, right here on the Marketing Pulpit Show. Alan says this, 5 o'clock somewhere. That's where that song came from. Okay. Thank you, Ashley. Thanks for bringing me up to date on that. Let's do this. Let's take another break. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a minute. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more. They should be given more flexible work hours. I may stop at some period, but as long as folks bag the food, got to talk about it. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Welcome to the show. Thank you to our sponsors, BLE Executive Suites. They have the 3 locations in the DC area. They have one in National Harbor. They have one in Nago and one over in College Park, Maryland. They've been sponsoring this show now for 11 years. It's Bernadette Clay. It's a family-owned business in our community, and they are rolling. I'm just glad to be associated with them. They've been a client of mine, and man, we got some big plans coming down the pike. Also, Passion Events Design, Miss Alice. She just bought a ballroom over in Frederick, Maryland. So she does event planning, and she just acquired a ballroom, a venue, on top of her planning business. Now she owns the building that she can hold events. That sister is rolling. So, man, let me tell you, that's what happens. You mess around and hook up with the marketing pulpit. You better watch out. Hang on to your hat. We'll blow you up. Also want to thank my good friend Joe Madison and the success of his book, Radioactive, up in over Sirius XM. We were up in New York last month, kicking off that book. So much success to him, and also Mr. Neely Fuller of the Counter Racist Code, having much success with his book, and his podcast comes on every Tuesday at 9 o'clock. Go to producejustice.com to find out more about that particular show. And so anyway, folks, thank you for all the people who trusted me to work with them over the years. And I'm just proud of the success, and I'm proud to share this success model, the spirit, the mindset with my listening audience. And it's not too late. You can jump on board too, but you gotta play by the rules. And I'm not a dictator or autocrat. Just certain things are foundational. You gotta have an audience. You gotta be targeted. You gotta have the right mindset. You can't bring that crazy foolishness that you when you out here running around lighting cigars with $1,000 bills on that 6-figure job. You can't bring that mindset into business ownership. You gotta buckle down. Get rid of that darn Bentley. You're surprised at some of the things people do with their money. I wrote a book called Play It in Full. I'm really making fun of you. I'm mocking people who go out here and give their money back to the very folks who are oppressing them. Nothing happened by mistake. All right, let's talk about. Let me bring some folks on the screen here. Ashley, you up? Ashley, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
How you doing today?
I am well. Thanks for even asking.
First time tuning in?
Yes.
All right. How'd you hear about us?
Actually, a young lady that works on my team, she said you got to check this show out, and it would be great if you can get on there. So I said, okay.
All right, man. Well, you're on. You got a minute now. You got to talk about one of the topics we talked about today. Then I want to hear about your organization.
It's kind of one and the same. Actually, you were talking a little bit ago about the young man who went into the elementary school.
Yeah.
And did damage. Unfortunately, murdering, kids, which is horrible, horrific.
Is there hope? Is there anything that parents, government, in your opinion, can do to stem this tide?
I think it's a collective approach, and I think to point the finger at whether it's government. I heard you talking about the guns. which we probably have a differing view on that. But I definitely think parents who are more connected. I think people who are in the community could be servicing this young man. So that's what I do. We have a mentoring organization, which we'll get to in a minute, but it's a collective effort, and because I've seen it from all facets, where you have parents who are involved in their child's life, but still things happen. But sometimes it takes that extra individual from the community village to support, which makes a huge difference.
Well, Ashley, are you Ashley or?
I'm Ashley.
Okay,
Yes,
right.
Ashley was originally a male's name. I'm actually named as my great grandfather.
Okay.
Who was a dentist in North Carolina. Yes.
Okay. Interesting. All right. I didn't want to make any assumptions.
No,
So
I'm Ashley.
Tell us about your organization. Got a minute.
So my organization started in 2013, but it was actually, the seed was planted when I was 10, 11 years old, being raised by a single mom who had to figure it all out on her own. My dad had his own personal challenges with addiction, and she took me up to a football field, and her took me up to this football field. I wanted to play ball, but she worked for the government in the DC area, and she had to figure it out when she could. She told this coach, listen, I'll get my son here when I can, but if I can't, he won't be here. And this coach looked my mom in her eyes, and he said, Mother, if you're willing to sign him up, he said, I'll make the commitment to sacrifice to pick him up every day for practice, and if need be, for games. And that seed was planted in me. And for the next 3 years, this coach picked me up in his old beat up Datsun every day for practice. We practiced like 3 days a week. My mom was able to get me to the game, so that wasn't an issue, but he made it happen. And that seed was planted. And then some time later, when I had my own children, mentoring through athletics was birthed. And now we support kids and families all throughout Maryland and DC.
Actually, you have an event coming up.
We actually do. June 11th, we're actually having a fundraiser, and it's actually not just to support our coaches, it's support our mentors. Just as we were talking about a moment ago in terms of this young man, Salvador Ramos, it takes more, right? Because it's the work that takes place off the football field or off the soccer field or off the basketball court that has to be done, where now mentors are able to go in homes and connect with family, go to the schools and actually touch base with teachers and advocate for these kids who sometimes feel like they don't have a voice, which often leads to behaviors that are extremely challenging, and the young people don't know what to do. And so they revert to what they see, whether it's in video games, music videos, or whatever. But if they have someone that they can talk to, a sounding board, a functional sounding board, then now maybe we can curb some of these behaviors that's plaguing our communities.
Actually, man, you did it. You nailed it. I like your feedback on the story. I like how you made it relevant to your event and your organization. And if you like, you can put your information about the event into the feed on the Facebook feed or on the wherever you are, and it'll be displayed to the audience, and we'll share it. Okay.
Awesome. Appreciate it so much.
Thanks, man. Continue to tune in and tell everybody about the show.
Will do.
All right, and share it now. Share it on your feed. Let everybody see your handsome face and say, "Look, man, I'm on TV."
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man. All right, folks. That was Ashley having great young man. He's having an event there. It's coming up. Glad to have him. And thanks for the feedback. That's the kind of feedback we like. We have one of our listeners, matter of fact, Brother Curtis. He talked about Juneteenth. He said Juneteenth is another opportunity to connect with the ancestors and those who face the blistering brutalities of slavery, not another day for corporate retailers, the beneficiary of slavery, Jim Crow, to commercialize and capitalize. Go ahead, brother. That's Curtis Gatewood of the organization SKU. Stop killing us, and you have nailed it, my friend. You have nailed it. All right, we got Sharon coming up. We're going to see what she had to say. Sharon, get ready. We're about to bring you on camera. And 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sharon! Welcome to the Marketing Pulpit Show. How you doing over there? Unmute yourself so we can hear you.
I'm good. How are you doing, Robert?
I hear you now. Girl, you still looking like a movie star. Where you at? You're looking good. You're looking good. Where you calling from? You don't have to get the exact city, but tell us what part of the country you're in.
North Carolina.
North
the Carolinas, yes.
All right. Now, you heard my rules on the show. And I said, you got to talk about one of the topics we talked about today. That's the price of admission. And then I want to hear about your product, your service, your book, your service, or whatever you're offering. So you're on.
Well, Robert, I thought it was really interesting and was really glad to hear you talk about planning for the unexpected.
Do you hear talk about Kevin and the rumor that was out there?
I heard you mention that, and the rumors were out there. And you know what's interesting to me, Robert, is people are so concerned and they get so emotionally intense about somebody else's situation.
Ooh,
Their situation
girl,
isn't together.
you starting something over here. Don't be starting no trouble now.
Yeah. So my condolences, first of all, to Kevin Samuel's family, because whether we agreed with what he said or not, there were people who loved him. You know, his mother loved him. And so I made it a habit that I wouldn't say negative things about people who are no longer here to defend themselves.
I like that.
You just allow them to rest, rest in peace. But when it did come out about the GoFundMe, it kind of broke my heart to hear of all these situations, especially, Robert, with young people who are leaving this world and their families are having to do GoFundMe. Okay. There was someone that I knew, a minister who, we thought they had everything together, and a family member had to put up a GoFundMe for his spouse who passed away. It was very heartbreaking. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Thank you very much. Now, in keeping with the format of the show, what do you do? Tell us what you got. What kind of service or product if you want to promote today?
Well, Robert, I'm in the financial services industry. I'm the chief strategist, financial strategist for our company. And I just really, Robert, want to encourage people to get their things organized and documented.
Okay.
I did a webinar this week with some individuals, and we talked about the fact that and I'm just going to share one thing. If you have checking accounts or savings accounts, I'm encouraging everyone to make sure that you call your bank and say, please put this person as the POD on my account. That's payable on death. If something happens to you, believe it or not, lots of times they freeze accounts. So I'm just encouraging people to do simple things to make sure that they're able to pass on legacies to their families. Believe it or not, about 68% of the people in America have not done that.
But you know what? You have how do people document this information? I keep mine in like a spreadsheet. I put it, sometimes I write it on the back of napkins. Sometimes.
That's good, Robert. That's good. You writing stuff down. That's great.
Right. But
there are things out there that people can use. And because I was looking for something for myself, I created something on my own. And it's a personal planning portfolio. It's a portfolio that people can use. It's a digital guide. You can put all of your information. Believe it or not, sometimes.
Wait a minute. Oh
yeah, sometimes people need passwords. Like if you have a computer.
Sharon, hold on.
Yes.
I want to hear this. Okay, I'm trying to keep the format of the show. Trying to keep it to a minute, but I tell you what. Can I do this?
Okay.
Because I was talking to my brother this past week. I was down in North Carolina, and we were talking about this very topic. It's like, if something happens, who knows how to get into my Facebook account?
Right.
Who knows where my money is?
Right.
Who knows about my recurring revenue? Who knows about my stock portfolio? Who has access to it? Right. And how did somebody get that information without having to, if something happened to me, like happened to Kevin or so many people,
right?
There is no warning. There is no bell that goes off. So, all right, in a minute now, Robert's about to go.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to do. And this is Ralph. I want to invite you back. What I want you to do after the show, when you hang up, send me your information. I want to invite you back next week, and we want to talk about this in detail. So Please do that. I hope you can make yourself available again next week. I know you're busy later because it seems like you got a lot going on. But please, if you can, come back next week, because that's one of my pet peeves.
Oh, okay.
And it's why we're talking about business exit plan strategy today.
I heard that.
People are not planning.
I heard you.
Can I ask you to do that, please?
Yes, sir. I'll be happy to.
So send me information. Sharon Bennett, and what's the name of your tool again?
It's called the Personal Life Portfolio.
Personal Life Portfolio. I tell you what, if you want to share that in the Facebook line, do that. But I will have you back, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it right here. Next week, we're going to bring Sharon back. We're going to talk about her portfolio and how we can better prepare ourselves for the inevitable. And it's tied so timely into what we're talking about today. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you,
I'm
Robert.
going to talk to you next week. Okay?
Okay.
All right, man. Talk about good timing. Wow, man, that was perfect. Man, I can't wait to talk about this. All right, folks, ladies and gentlemen, that was Sharon. She's a financial planner, and she picked the topic of Kevin Samuels to talk about. and how the untimely demise has befallen so many people, and they didn't have a tool to help document all this stuff that's floating around. So you don't need a GoFundMe page. Anyway, folks, I'm telling you right now, I don't need a GoFundMe page. I need that little tablet that Sharon had to let people know where stuff is. So anyway, folks, thank you very much. And Marilyn actually wrote it down for us. Personal life portfolio, Sharon Bennett. Thank you, Sharon. Let's see what else we got here. Ashley put his information. I'll share that with you on the marketing pulpit. And let's go. We have one more person in waiting here. Let's get Fred said, all of us need an exit strategy. Birth to death. Frederick Mitchell, Phi Beta Sigma. Thank you very much, brother. You are 100% right. And thank you for chiming in this morning. Got a lot of folks tuning in today, ladies and gentlemen. We're really enjoying your feedback. And I am going to get to my sermon today. We may run a little bit over today. Normally we try to be out of here in an hour. But I'm just going to give you, if you can bear with me for another few minutes, I'm going to bring in somebody else who's waiting. He's really not a stranger to the show. He's actually Leon Gatewood. I was down in North Carolina. Was that last week or the week before?
Last week, right?
Was that last week?
It's 5 o'clock already, man.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Put that crown down. Welcome, Leon. Welcome to the show. I'm not going to introduce you because you are a familiar face on the show, and you are but I will let you introduce yourself to the audience. But at the same time, somebody said we look like twins. All right, Platinum, don't start nothing over there. That is my brother. It is my brother. He's not only my blood brother, he's also my Phi Beta Sigma brother. We join the same fraternity at Livingstone College, Phi Beta Sigma. And thank you for joining us today. Leon, following the format of the show, any one of these topics caught your eye?
Well, let me say this right quick. I want to say that to Ashley. We're in the same boat here, headed in the same direction. And Sharon actually worked in Waysboro.
Oh, that's right.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
small world, man. See how those dots connect, man. I love it.
Absolutely, very small world. But Juneteenth is a lot of things to talk about, but Juneteenth is the thing that I really want to say we should take and use to teach our young people history. We shouldn't wait until June. We shouldn't restrict it to June, just like we shouldn't restrict Black History Month. Hey, Sister Norvita. Anyway, so we shouldn't restrict it. We must keep it going, man. Hey, Curtis, Gate 3. Yeah, so we just have...
We got a very vibrant audience today. So,
absolutely. So we just have to keep finding reasons and ways to teach our young people our history.
Well, you and Curtis put a comment up a few minutes ago, and right. Sound like you and myself, we have like minds, is that what Walmart did is what they were doing is what people do at holiday time.
Yeah.
They use it to make more money. As a matter of fact, an entire section of my book addresses that. How these holidays are just triggers to get people to spend more money. That's the whole concept. Go ahead, Leon.
You can't blame them for that. We can't blame them for that. That's what they do, like you just said. That's what they do. So we have to make sure we don't allow people to keep capitalizing on us. So that's our job.
There you go. But what you're saying, Leon, is that we have to take the initiative.
Absolutely.
We can't let, if they taking critical race theory out of the universities, if they're minimizing or marginalizing Black history in the schools, right. That's what they do.
That's what they do.
We shouldn't be surprised. But what do we do? That's what it comes back to. What are we doing?
So we have to, what I want to say is, we have to make sure our children are learning, and we have and our children are our children.
Amen.
So it's not like we have to turn them over to someone else. Our children are our children. When we don't see our children learning, we see our children in the street, like Ashley was saying, they're gonna pick up, they're gonna learn from something. So right. It's best that they learn from us.
You are exactly right, Leon. Man, I'm gonna have to bring you back too, just like I told Sharon. I knew once I opened up the floodgates, somebody's gonna come on here, they're gonna say something, get me, they're gonna tease me and get me thirsty for more. So I'm going to book you on another show too. We're going to dig a little deeper in that. But before you go, give us a quick rundown on Holla.
Okay. Holla was founded in 2005 to address low achievement in the school system. But we found the best way to do that was to form partnership with the school system, form partnership with other civic organizations, churches, etc., where we could build our power and our capacity to address the issues that are afflicting our children. So, in other words, now we form partnership with Black Voters Matter, NC Counts Healthier Together, United Way, everybody that we can find that will help serve and bring resources into our community, we'll find a way to reach you. The North Carolina Rural Project, the new Rural Project, anybody that's doing something positive, we'll try to find a way to invite you into the house.
Well, Leon, what I would say is that we're fighting as a community, we're fighting some very formidable forces that are trying to miseducate the kids, depressing the votes, commercializing on our history, doing a lot of things that are really not working in our favor. I did a sermon last week about why curse the darkness when you can light a candle. What I'm trying to do is get more people to light candles.
I was saying, all
light
day.
Our way out of this darkness instead of sitting around complaining. And that's why I like what you're doing, what Sharon's doing, what Ashley is doing. You are doing what should be done. Amen. Let people know about how they can find Holla.
They can find us at www.holla.ws. They can find us on Facebook. Just search Holla on Facebook. There we are. But I'll just tell you about one event we have coming up at the end of the month, June 26th. Of course, June 25th is the big celebration for Dr. Jenkins, who's Livingstone College president. He's going to be retiring, so they have a big celebration for him in Salisbury, featuring the Whispers. I think I'm going to sing with it. Anyway, so that's on June 25th. And on June 26th, we're having our annual poetry slam, which you always help us out with every year. So we're going to do it in partnership with the town of Marvin this year. So we'll make sure everything is. And like I say, Robert, in June, we need to be doing stuff every week. In September, we can do stuff every week for our children, for our culture. We don't have to wait. And like you, I was thinking, Ryan, where did Juneteenth come from? Why didn't they celebrate it on the first signing of the Emancipation Proclamation? Who decided to do it on the Juneteenth party? I don't know, man. We just got to take control of our own destinies, man.
Leon, you nailed it. Thank you again for participating in the show today. And I will be in touch with you about doing a follow-up because I want to get a little deeper into what you're doing in this topic that we're talking about. So thank you again, brother, for tuning in and joining the show and the discussion today.
One more thing. Stop Killing Us is another one of our big partners. Stop Killing Us. That's another one of our biggest partners.
Gate 3 in the house. Thank you, Gate 3. Thank you, Curtis. Thank you, SKU. Thank you for all of the sponsors who are supporting Holla. And they had a great, successful 5K run this month. And I was able to go down there and participate. Thank you again, Leon. And we'll be in touch. Okay, brother?
Thank you, man. Thank you.
All right, folks. That's Leon. I want to thank all of our people who tuned in today. We had Ashley. We had Sharon. We had Leon. We invited Sharon back next week to talk about planning. And we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about exit strategy for your business. So hang on for another 5-10 minutes, and we're gonna get on here and talk about how you can plan for your untimely demise, or if you're ready to take that business, either sell it or do something else with it. Let's have a plan. Like anything marketing and business related, you must have some type of strategy. So hang on for a second. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. We'll be back in just a moment. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more. They should be given more flexible work hours. I may stop in some period, but as long as folks bag the food, got to talk about it. All right, thank you for tuning in to the Marketing Pulpit Show. The new format for the show, and you saw a good example today of how it works. We do a business section every week. We talk about some of the hot items in the news, business news, war in the workplace, job warfare. And then as we wrap up the news section, you as a listener have an opportunity to come on camera and give your point of view. And afterwards, you can talk about your organization, your book you're trying to sell, your event where you're trying to fill seats. And so that's this marketing pulpit has entered a new phase where this has become your show. I mean, I can sit up here and talk all day long, and maybe you want to listen to me all day long, but I'm of the mind now that I want to hear from you. And today was an excellent example of how that works. And thank you for everybody who tuned in and gave their opinion on the news items and who promoted their organizations. You can go back and get that information by going back and listening to the show. The show is going to be on marketingpulpit.com. You can also get it on YouTube. You can get it on Facebook. And you can listen to all of our shows. And thank you again for all of our listeners and the many people and the many comments we've had today. This has been a very exciting show. And quickly, let's talk about our marketing sermon. We're talking about business exit strategy. Now, it's not enough to just say one day when I'm done, I'm just going to hand over the keys to somebody and I'm going to move on with my life. I mean, that may be ultimately what happens, but that is not a very strategic approach. So what we have to do is to come up with a plan. Now, exit strategy, there are three basic elements of an exit strategy. The evaluation of your company, that's one. The other one is to know your exit options. And the third one is to have a team to make it happen. Let's talk about the first one. The first one is evaluate your company. Now, if business evaluation is actually it's a science. It's not just something some people use like the EBIT. Some people use the asset test, 2.5 times your gross is equal to your value of your company. But there are actually specialized companies that do this for a living. And so when you say evaluating your company, it's not something that you just do off the top of your head. Sometimes people get companies evaluated if they're in disputes, divorce, trying to resell it, trying to do other things with the company, partner breakups. They get evaluation. And then there's another type of evaluation when you're trying to sell a business. The two are slightly different. There are companies that specialize in this. We had a guy on our show back about 2017 named Akil EQ. And he was a specialist in that. He actually has a book out called 30 Frequently Asked Questions in Business Valuation. So you can go back to Marketing Pulpit and get that entire interview. But there are companies that specialize in evaluating your business. Now, the process has 3 steps itself. The first one is to assess the value, and that's where you get a specialist like Akil. The second step is to preserve the value. In other words, once you have the value of your company, you want to preserve that value so it doesn't depreciate in value. You do that by making sure that you are litigation averse, that you're shielding yourself from possible lawsuits and things like that. You want to make sure that you have protected by the correct amount of insurance, and you want to mitigate any tax liabilities. Those are ways of preserving the value of the company once you've had that valuation. The next thing you want to do is increase the value. And increase the value, you can do that by not having too much dependency on certain individuals in the company. You can avoid supplier dependency. In other words, you want to have a diverse supply chain, increase recurring revenue. You want to document and streamline your operations, replace worn out equipment, pay off equipment, leases, document your intellectual property, and create barriers to entry. So the 3 things you want to do as you start to the 3 steps of the strategy. One is to get a valuation, and the 3 steps of that is the assessment, preserving the value, and increasing the value. Number 2 of this process is to know your exit options. Now, when you're getting ready to leave, when you're deciding to exit your company, you have basically 3 options. You have inside options. That's when you're selling it to your children, selling it to your business partners, selling it to employees, co-workers. That's called inside option. The outside options is selling it to private individuals, competitors, financial buyers, private equity groups, and so forth. And the third one is the one that we've been talking about today, is the involuntary exit options. That's when something happens to you, such as death, disability, divorce. So those are the options that some way people usually leave a business. Those are the exit. Those are the doors that you go out of, either inside, outside, or involuntary. Now, you can't tackle this by yourself. This is mostly, not you're talking about a little bender table or something like that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about people who have serious businesses with staff and income and investors. You need to build a team to make this happen. Investment bankers, brokers, you need an attorney, you need a CPA, financial planners, insurance advisors, business coaches, and people like that. Those are people you're going to need on your team when you start coming up with a serious business exit strategy. This task is too big for a regular person or who has not have experience in this area. So, in closing, if you're considering selling your business in the near future, planning for the sale is imperative. Also, because what we have seen happen, particularly in these days, we're seeing things happen. I mean, like Kevin Samuels, we talked about earlier. He did not plan his exit. He had what we call an involuntary exit to his business. Now, if he had done an evaluation, done the preserving and increasing the value, then he would have been more prepared. And I'm not saying that he didn't, but we don't have to wait until we have an involuntary exit. We have to be prepared at all times. One thing you can do is listen to this show and take care of that increasing the value option by listening to the Marketing Pulpit Show and talking to advisors. We have an attorney who's listening to the show right now, Bradley Thomas. We talked about protecting your intellectual property. He's an intellectual property attorney. So there are experts in this field. I'm just giving you the overview and raise your awareness that as you build this asset, this valuable organization, this company that you're growing, that you can't just let it dissipate because something happens to you or because you failed to plan. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for today. Once again, thank you everybody for tuning in to the Marketing Pulpit Show. We'll be back next week right here on this show. We're going to bring Sharon back. She was on earlier, and we're going to continue this conversation about planning and what would happen. What's going to happen to your passwords, to your bank accounts, your stock portfolio? Where is this information documented right now? And I bet you in the majority of this audience, it's documented in all over the place. If something happens to you tomorrow, would anybody know how to get into that account where you have that recurring revenue? Can they get into your Robinhood account to transfer the stocks around if they have to? Well, she has a document, a portfolio that she's going to come on and talk about, and she's going to talk about from a professional level how she helps people plan for that eventual demise. And sometimes you don't have to be demise, retirement. Sometimes it could be divorce. It could be a breakup of a partnership, but you have to plan for these type of eventualities. That's going to wrap it up today. This has been an exciting show. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Thank you for all of the guests who came in. And next week, I want you to go ahead. If you have a topic you want to come in and talk on and bring your service to the forefront and promote it on the show, the price of admission, listen to the news and come in and comment. And then at the end of that, you get a minute to talk about your show, work on your elevator pitch. And this is broadcast all over the world. So this is an opportunity. Don't sit over there and complain about nobody knows about your business. And I'm giving you an opportunity. Don't curse the darkness. Light the candle. I'm helping you light that candle today, folks, right here on the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. We'll be back next week right here on the Marketing Pulpit. And if you want to be successful, you have to do these three things. Do the right thing. Do it at the right time. You know what else you have to do? You have to do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work. People don't understand marketing. You can't stop every time the money runs out. You need to come on and tell people why your service is different. Why is everybody so angry? Airline passengers biting the TSA agents. I mean, it reminds me of one of those zombie apocalyptic movies. And as a community, collectively, we're going to be taken more seriously if we have that strong economic foundation. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you have to do it right. Enough talk, let's get to work.